Heroscape is an expandable turn-based miniature wargaming system originally manufactured by Milton Bradley Company, and later by Wizards of the Coast, both subsidiaries of Hasbro, Inc., and discontinued by Hasbro in November 2010. The game is played using pre-painted miniature figures on a board made from interlocking hexagonal tiles that allow for construction of a large variety of 3D playing boards. The game is often noted and lauded by fans for the relatively high production quality of the game materials, in particular the pre-painted miniature figures as well as its interchangeable and variable landscape system. History: Heroscape was released in 2004. The game designers are Craig Van Ness, Rob Daviau, and Stephen Baker at Hasbro Games. Hasbro's subsidiary, Milton Bradley, also developed HeroQuest and Battle Masters. Heroscape is designed for 2 or more players ages 8 and older, although it can easily be adapted to more players, particularly if more than one master set and expansion sets are used. There are additional expansion sets that can be purchased. The game comes with 2 sets of rules. The basic rules allow for simpler games accessible to younger players. The advanced rules are designed for more experienced gamers but are simpler than most war games. Each figure or group of figures has a card, called an army card, with basic game statistics printed on one side and advanced game information on the other. Advanced game information includes species, class, personality, size, special powers, and the point value of the card. The master set that is required for play contains enough tiles to build a nearly limitless number of scenarios, but experienced players often combine sets to create larger and more elaborate playing surfaces. The master set includes grass, rock, sand, water and ruins to make the playing surface. Various expansions add lava, road, trees, snow, ice, glaciers, swamp, jungle, a castle, a bridge and more. After taking over Heroscape, Wizards of the Coast issued new products with a Dungeons & Dragons theme. This change was reported to be intended to reduce production costs, but existing players saw it as an attempt to convert players away from Heroscape to D&D. On November 3, 2010, Wizards of the Coast discontinued production of Heroscape products, supposedly in favor of focusing on their core games, Dungeons & Dragons and Magic: The Gathering. This caused an instant backlash in the Heroscape community, including petitions and threats of boycotts. Despite the lack of official production, the game remains popular with a strong community, regular tournaments, and user-created content. Gameplay: at its essence, Heroscape is an epic battle between and among characters from multiple cultures, periods, and genres, taking place on a 3-dimensional gaming surface of various elevations and terrain types. Although the game manual contains ideas for scenarios, many players combine multiple sets of terrain tiles to create large playing surfaces, and develop their own house rules and custom scenarios. The heroes are inspired heavily by popular science fiction and fantasy, as well as the Old West, the Roman Empire, ancient Greece, feudal Japan, the Scottish Highlands, the Nordic sagas, American history, medieval Europe, and classic mythology, among others. A single team may consist of heroes from many genres, with dragons, elves, robots, angels, demons, vampires, werewolves, dinosaurs and wizards fighting alongside soldiers, Vikings, knights, samurai, cowboys and futuristic agents and more, including various forms of animal life, such as wolves, spiders, and serpent-like vipers. Building the scenario Heroscape requires players to construct the 3-dimensional playing surface for the game. Scenarios that come in the game, in Master Set and some large expansions, include detailed instructions for board setups, but many players enjoy designing their own. Two new master sets were released in 2007. One called The Swarm of the Marrow was released on August 2007, and the Marvel Comics master set called The Conflict Begins, which was released on July 2007 and contains 5 heroes and 5 villains from the Marvel Comics universe. The Marvel edition is fully compatible with the regular Heroscape figures. Another master set was released in 2010 titled Battle for the Underdark, which was based on the Dungeons & Dragons franchise. There are also separate, smaller expansions that contain a new set of themed terrain and a new unit that takes advantage of said terrain. Volcaran Wasteland contains lava and lava rock surface tiles along with obsidian guards. Thalenk Tundra contains ice, snow and glacier surface tiles plus the DZUTEH miniature, and Road to the Forgotten Forest contains roads, bridge and tree surface tiles and a Dumutov guard. Tikala Jungle based on jungle and tree surface tiles with Firelog spiders was supposed to be available in early 2008, but was delayed during the transition of making Heroscape a Wizards of the Coast product instead of a Hasbro product. It was instead released on June 13, 2008. Selecting armies. Each player selects one or more units, where a unit may be a unique and distinct hero, or an entire squad of generic figures. Army cards that explain the various attributes and special abilities are packaged with each unit. There are 4 types of units in the game: Unique Hero, Common Hero, Unique Squad and Common Squad. Hero cards are associated with a single figure and squad cards are associated with a set of 2 or more figures. A given player may only have one of a unique unit, be it a hero or squad, in his army, but there is no limit on how many copies of a common unit may be selected. D&D Heroscape introduced a 5th type, Uncommon Heroes, which play like unique heroes but a player can have more than one in his army. The idea proves unpopular, as most players simply played with them as if they were exactly like unique heroes, only having one in their army build. All basic game scenarios and some advanced game scenarios specify the units for each player. Most advanced game scenarios allow players to choose units based on the points values printed on the army card. Usually scenarios have a different amount of points that you can use to buy characters. Depending on the scenario, players may be required to place their team in a specific location, or they may randomly select where each player begins. Structure of a round. The flow of play in Heroscape is broken up into rounds and turns. The terms are often used interchangeably in other board games, but there is a key distinction in Heroscape, with each round including 3 turns for each player. At the beginning of the round, each player must place order markers on his/her armies. Order markers determine which armies will be used during that round and what order they will be utilized. These markers indicate the turn in which each unit will be activated, but the numbers are hidden from the table. A 4th dummy marker may also be placed to add some ambiguity as to which units one will be activating. The same unit may be activated multiple times in a single round by placing multiple order markers on it. After order markers have been placed, each player rolls a 20-sided initiative die. The highest roller takes the first turn and play passes to the left. The player with the highest initiative roll begins his first turn by revealing which unit contains his first order marker. A turn usually consists of moving and then attacking. For squads, each figure in the squad is moved before any may attack. The number of hexes that each figure may move is listed on its card. Typical movement amounts range from 4 to 8 and normally moving 1 hex costs 1 point movement. Certain types of terrain are dangerous, impassable, slow you down or speed you up. Moving up, but not down, in elevation also costs additional movement points. Some figures' special abilities, such as flying, may also affect movement. After movement has been completed, each surviving figure in the unit may attack any figure within its range and line of sight. Melee units are those with a range of 1, and range units typically have a range of 4 or more. The number of dice rolled for offense is listed on the army card, but may be improved by various bonuses, including terrain bonuses, elevation bonuses, or special abilities. The attack dice contained skulls on 3 surfaces, giving a 50% chance at scoring a hit for each die. The defender likewise calculates how many defense dice he may roll, based on his unit's natural defense value and any other bonuses. The defense dice contain only 2 shields, giving a statistical advantage to the attacker. In the second edition, the defense and attack dice are combined into 1, with 3 chances for attack, 2 chances for defense, and 1 chance for a blank roll. If the defender rolls a number of shields equal to or higher than the number of skulls rolled by the attacker, nothing happens. If the number is lower, the defender receives a number of wound markers equal to the difference. Once a unit receives a number of wound markers equal to its total life points, it is destroyed and removed from the playing surface immediately. Heroes usually have multiple life points. Squads always have 1 life point per figure in the squad. In the basic rules version of the game, the wound marker system is not used, and each unit simply has 1 life point. Hero units usually have exaggerated defense to compensate. Various abilities by specific units may modify these rules to some degree, but this move, attack, defense flow is typical of a turn. Once the player has finished all of his attacks, play passes to the left, and that player then reveals his first order marker and takes his turn. Play continues in this manner until the final player has completed his first turn, and then play resumes with the first player, who reveals his second order marker and takes a turn with that unit. This process is repeated for the third order marker, and then the round is completed. Sometimes a player will lose a turn if the unit he had placed an order marker on was destroyed on a previous player's turn. Victory. The conditions for victory vary, with some scenarios involving quest-like goals and others simply being the last player with ever surviving. Units, time limits, round limits, and points for first to or holding certain locations are all common. In tournament settings, there is often a fractional scoring system used when time expires. The player with the most points at the end of the time limits wins. Characters. Generals. There are 6 Valkyrie generals on the world of Valhalla, the planet upon which Heroscape is set. The original 5 generals were Janda, Ulla, Vidar, Einar and Ugar. Later on, Aquila joined the fight, forging an alliance between herself, Janda, Ulla, Vidar and even Einar, against Ugar. D&D Heroscape even introduced a general unique to its line, Valkyriel. The 6 generals and Valkyriel are listed below. Jandar's army fights to stop Ugar from misusing the wellsprings and their incredible power, and to prevent his forces from conquering all of Valhalla, the universe, and possibly time itself. Jandar was allied with Ulla, but later his alliance spread to include Vidar, Einar and Aquila. Jandar's army is made up of the Sentinel faction of Kyrian humans, along with a scattering of Omnicrons, Dzuteh, and a white dragon named Nilfheim. Jandar is considered to be an archetypical, heroic general. Ulla was allied with Jandar almost from the beginning, but later their alliance grew to include Vidar, Einar, and Aquila. His army consists of elves, vipers, Shaolin monks, a giant named Jotun, a griffin named Thericus, Kiri protectors, and a dragon named Cheros. Ulla's army consists of species often referenced in the fantasy genre. Vidar, of the 3 neutral generals, was the only true neutral one among them, picking neither Jandar's nor Uhtgar's side, but aiding either side as it suited his own mysterious agenda. Later, however, he reluctantly joined Jandar and Ulla's alliance along with Einar and Aquila. His army consists mostly of humans and soulborgs, primadons, technologically advanced primates, a dog-like creature called Dund, an undead queen named Sudama, and Braxus the Black Dragon. Vidar is the general of highly technologically advanced creatures and agents. Einar was the only general to ally with Ugar, but later shifted his alliance to Janda, Ulla, Vida, and Aquila. His army consists almost entirely of humans, with only the exceptions of the Einar Imperium Kiri, the dragons Elrigan and Cyclops-like Koga named Gureoni. Einar's forces are generally taken from historical empires. He is commonly thought of as the historical general. Aquila, who first appeared in 2007, is still her mysterious figure. Little is known about her except that she is allied with Janda, Ulla, Vida, and Einar, all fighting against Ugar. She is the only female general. Aquila's army is made up of squads of Fjorlig spiders, the Mohican River tribe of American Indians, Grinders of the Burning Forge, who are a group of dwarf fighters and their leader, Miguel Ironwheel. There is also Suju, a large, flying insect. She is a thematically savage, primal nature-oriented general. Utgar's army is fighting to take control of the mysterious well springs and use their incredible power to conquer all of Valhalla. Utgar's army consists of his Kiri minions, the hive-controlled Marrow, orcs, Solborgs, undead, wolves, the dragon Mimring, and a scattering of other creatures and beings. Ugar is the archetypical, the evil villain overlord. Although a separate minigame D&D Heroscape introduced new units for the 6 normal Heroscape generals as well. In D&D Heroscape, elementals often fight for Janda, lizardfolk often fight for Ulla, golems often fight for Vida, humans often fight for Einar, like in regular Heroscape. Dwarves fight for Aquila, and Ugar is aided goblins and drow. A general exclusive to its storyline was also introduced. Valkyrie, the D&D Heroscape exclusive general, was created by Utgar's Dark followers to reinforce Utgar's Dark army. He somewhat replaced Einar as an ally to Ugar. While Ugar is evil, his army also has order, but Valkyrie is purely chaotic. His army is small and it consists of demons, bugbears, orcs, and undead. He is basically the Chaos General. Valkyrie exists only in D&D Heroscape.